I know it's been a bit. It's been a little while since I've been on here and shared with you all, and I kind of just pieced out on social media for the last 4 months. I've taken some time to really go inward and spend some much needed quality time with my family. As I've shared in previous episodes and on social media, this postpartum with my son Artemis has been probably the more challenging out of the three. I felt like I was navigating a lot of life challenges, but also physical challenges and emotional, mental. There's just been a lot going on this year, and I'm sure a lot of women can relate. And of course, motherhood always comes with its challenges and lessons and all of the beauty in between. But I really felt like I was just so sensitive that I had to really disconnect from social media to be able to hear my own voice, to hear God's voice, and yeah, just really connect to my intuition. I felt like leading up to Artie's birth, I really was just so focused on the birth and so focused on healing birth trauma to get to a place where I could have the home birth of my dreams, and God really blessed me with that. But on the other side of that coin, I felt like his birth rocked me, and I really still feel that almost 1 year later. So my baby is going to be 1 on the 21st of this month, October. And so it also just feels like really timely that I'm coming out of this little cocoon, hibernation, whatever you want to call it. Um, but I just feel like, wow, I'm really coming out of this deep, 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 deep healing and solitude. Um, and it's been almost 1 year postpartum after his birth, and I just have learned so much about myself. I've learned so much about just being a mom to my 3 children who are all just so uniquely different and have such different needs and what they require from me as their mother. I have my firstborn, who is also turning 14 on the 21st, because for those of you who don't know, him and Artemis share a birthday. So he will be 14, Artemis will be 1, and Soraya, my baby girl, is going to be 4 on November 1st. So this time of year is just so reminiscent for me. I just start getting in my feels, but also I feel like cycles come to an end, or I just begin new cycles around this time. It's such a special time of year for me because all of my 3 children were born within basically 10 days from October 21st to November 1st. It's just celebration mode in our home, and I love that so much. And I also can't help but to think back to all of their births and all of my pregnancies with each and every one of them, and the postpartums and all of the lessons that I have gained from them, and yeah, just the rebirths that have taken place. And I really feel in my heart that this is my last. I feel like Artemis completes our family. Me and my husband are just so content with our 3 children, and Yeah, I it's hard to say, but, like, a few months after his birth, I just felt this, like, completion of our family and, like, this is going to be my last. And there were thoughts in those first few weeks where I was, like, so blissed out with all the oxytocin and all that, like, "Oh, yeah, we're just gonna keep having babies," but, like, once reality set in, it was pretty clear that this would be my last, and so I've just really been taking it all in and taking things so slow and just trying to enjoy every moment of it because I know how quickly it goes. And that's so cliche. And, everyone says it, but the truth is that this year, as much that has taken place and in many, many ways, it feels like, oh my goodness, I can't believe all of those things happened this year and like, whoa, so intense. And thank God it's coming to a close. I am also like, oh gosh, but it was also so special. And like, my baby is not going to be a baby forever. And yeah, so just so much contrast of beauty and pain and struggle and thriving and yeah, just lots of duality, and I don't mean to be vague about all of that, but I also am kind of, like, in this place after taking such a extended, unexpectedly long break from Instagram when I popped back into it, like, 2 days ago and decided that I wanna, like, start a new Instagram so that I have, like, a new algorithm and just starting kind of, like, clean slate, I felt like I was seeing everything with, like, really clear vision, and I just like, I see so many people feeling this need to, like, explain things to people that are ultimately strangers. And I don't mean for that to sound like super cold and like I'm on this pedestal of being better than, because that's totally not how I'm trying to come off. But I was so in that. And that was why I needed to really remove myself and delete the app. Like I felt like I went into detox, like rehab, because I didn't realize how much social media became a part of my life. And then, in the navigating through such hard times, feeling like, oh, but I gotta like explain this to the world. And like, how do I articulate this in a way that's going to be on brand for who everyone thinks I am? And like, so there's the stress of that, but then there's also the stress of like information overload and like everyone thinking they know what's best for everyone else. And also having this like epiphany with myself as a birth worker, just, yeah, feeling like, wow, I have been influenced so hard. Who the heck even am I? And I think the only reason for me to really know is to like quiet all of the noise and just really sit with myself and my own thoughts. And it took me having some really intense panic attacks that I've never experienced before. Like, I feel like I'm dying type panic attacks. Like really early in my postpartum, like 3, 4 months postpartum, and then it taking a bit for me to realize, like, "Oh, wow, you're being highly triggered by the like, such intense amount of information that's being shot at you every single time you open your freaking phone," which is basically every time you just want to numb out and, like, not have to check into your life. And I had to have that really hard talk with myself and, like, just come to this place where all of the, like, facade is just broken down and everything just crumbles, and then you're just left with all of the dust and all of the debris. And, I felt like this summer has been such a rebuilding for me, and like how I want to show up in the world as first and foremost a wife and a mother, and then as a support person for women. Like, that is what I do. Even though I've checked out of social media life, um, I'm still attending births. I'm still walking with women. It's so funny because I always had this like, "Oh my god, how am I gonna let social media go?" Like, this is my business. This is like my livelihood and like how I connect with the women who support and so on and so forth. And I just deleted the app for over 4 months, and I still have women crossing paths with me all the time and reaching out to me through email and through local, like, sites and things like that that I'm a part of here in the Hudson Valley, and I'm still doing what I do, and I actually had this thought for a minute where I was like, what if I just never go back and I just am, like, so deeply connected with my community and just really tending and nurturing to my community in real life? And there's definitely, like, a huge part of me that really wants to just focus my energy on that, but there's also this big part of me that is like, "Yeah, but I know that although social media has been such a challenge for me in so many ways, I have gotten so much from it too. And the amazing women that I have crossed paths with virtually, and yeah, just the incredible, like, life-changing conversations that I've had. And so I'll never forget those things too. And so I'm always kind of walking this fine line of like, what's my next move? But I think I've come to a like landing place, and I feel really good at like easing my way back in. And I definitely want to continue tending to this podcast because I know how important it is for other women to hear these like beautiful stories, and just hearing other women just share, whether it's their struggle, their, redemptive experience through birth and postpartum, and how, they've healed themselves. Like, there's just so much to take from hearing another woman's story. But on the same, like, coin, it's also so important to have discernment and to know that what is someone else's experience and someone else's walk in life is not my own. And like, I am an individual, and just because this is someone else's truth does not mean it has to be my truth, and it doesn't have to be what I, experience either. And I think that's just such an important thing for all of us to carry when we are, in the social media realms, and like taking so much in and consume, consume, consume. It's like, yeah, it's great to do that, but it's also really, really, really important, if not more important, to spend that time with yourself and God and just figuring out what your truth is. And I'm definitely going to get into more like details as I share on Instagram as I feel called to, and on the podcast here. Um, I have definitely navigated through a lot this year and some health challenges, and just some really affirming experiences too, like with the medical system, and like, going against my better judgment and seeking help from them and then getting nothing in return, and the disappointment, and then realizing like, well, Tiffany, I mean, you've always said this. You are your own healer and you're responsible for yourself and your family. And as much as you want to like believe that there's something to take from everything, like certain situations you just have to have better discernment with. And yeah, I feel like more than ever before, which says so much, by the way, because I've always been a pretty sovereign person when it comes to like dealing with the medical system and things like that. But like I have learned so much about how to support the body to heal itself because I have actually had some really challenging health things that have come into my path. And, for whatever reason it is, I definitely know one thing is that it was to bring me back onto the path of like being my own healer. And when I say that, I don't mean like, oh, I'm a healer and like whatever. I mean like having tools that God has given us, through his beautiful creation to support my body and my children's bodies to be able to self heal because that's how we were designed. And I've always had a love and passion for herbal medicine. And, for those of you who have been like kind of following me for a while, you know that I went to massage therapy school and I have had my moments of being really, really into making herbal medicine. And then, I've taken breaks from it too because life. But with all of this time that I had on my hands, taking a break from social media and really, really being forced to deal with certain situations that were, affecting my health. Um, I dove right into learning a lot more about herbs and making herbal medicine and frequency healing, which is something that I'm really excited to share more about, to address some of these things that allopathic, regular industrial medicine was not able to help me whatsoever. Literally, doctors just being like, "Yeah, we have no idea what's going on." Openly admitting that. I will say, like, it scared me to be in those places because, of course, you're like facing it's in a way, it feels like you're facing death because you just don't know if you're going to overcome. And so, those were like my thoughts in those really dark periods throughout this whole journey. Of course, I'm in a place now where I know, like, well, if that's what's meant to happen, then that's what it is, and I know that God has me no matter what. But I also know my time here is definitely not even close to being completed, and there's just so much, and I do feel like sometimes those really intense moments are just so that you can, like, open your eyes to what God really wants you to, put your energy towards. And I felt that, like, super, super deep, deep, deep in my soul that, there are other women, there are other people out there who are navigating such similar circumstances, if not more extreme and intense than I even dealt with. And they need help. And not that I'm here to be anyone's savior, but you know what? If I could share my story and share a little tidbit of like what I've gained in this challenging time and help someone else be able to heal themselves, then that is just so beyond a blessing in my eyes. So that's a big piece of why I'm here again too, is that I know that in sharing these stories that we go through as people, we can touch so many other people, whether we see it like that or not. And it's powerful. Like, everything has this duality. And like with some things, we have to check ourselves. And I know for me, it's like I always have to check myself and make sure that I'm not overdoing the social media thing. I'm not spreading myself too thin because that's going to affect me mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and physically. And I need to always be in that balance for it to be working for me. So that is where I'm at right now, where I am going to be working in that balance of having the time and space that I require, and everyone requires different things, but I know for me, I require a lot more solitude and, reflection, and yeah, like, disconnecting is important for me, so I can get that. So just yeah, for me, it's gonna be, um knowing when to disconnect is important so that I don't get to that place of feeling overwhelmed like I did when I was, getting off Instagram a few months ago. And it's not so much like the content creation, it's more of like just literally scrolling. It's just like, okay, I cannot spend my time doing that. It's just not something that works for, like, my brain. Because I get so overstimulated by other people's stuff and other people's opinions, and so I need to, like, take it in, like, small doses, and certain platforms are better for me, like Substack, where I can, like, read and be really intentional about what I'm consuming, as opposed to just the really, um overstimulating scrolling. It just doesn't work for me as a person. So yeah, anyways, I don't want to like ramble on that too much, but I'm really excited to share more with you all. I am like in full blown medicine making mode, and Motherwell is just growing into this beautiful vision I have had since I gave birth to Artemis, and I just love the direction that it's taken. And I'm really, really excited to talk more about the frequency healing too. One of the things that I got when I was trying to support my body in its healing process was a Rife machine. And I am just obsessed. Like, I'm so obsessed, and I am really excited for some of the things that I'm gonna use it for, and I am also excited to share more about it, which I will. Sorry that if this came off a little vague. I don't have a whole lot of time to record, but I also want to just pop in and say hi and say that there are definitely things coming, and I'm supporting births, which is just so amazing. And I'm so excited for the women that I'm supporting. And I'm supporting births in person as well as virtually. I have put some things up on my website that I'm really excited about. I totally revamped my pregnancy journal, the Surrender to Birth Fear Releasing Pregnancy Journal. So that is also up on the website. And I am also going to be finally putting up my birth trauma journal. So that is going to be available. I am excited for it to be out there in the world. I just wanted to say that because I've had people reaching out about that. And I also want to say for the people who have reached out wondering what's going on with me and checking in, I cannot express how much I appreciate you. And I really, 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 really love the just space that has been curated, and the women that I have crossed paths with on Instagram and Substack. And I just have lots of love for all of you women. And yeah, I just had to say that. So I'm gonna leave it at that. And I promise that I will be popping in again to dive a little deeper on some of these topics that I'm really excited to talk about. And I am going to have some amazing women come on and share their wisdom and knowledge as well. So, thank you for listening and be blessed.